Guys, there are spoilers for this film and this review. So if you don't want to be de-rezzed, go watch film, then come back. You have been warned.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron HD, and this week we watched Tron Ares, the third installment in the Tron trilogy after 15 goddamn years after Tron Legacy, which was one of my favorite movies as a kid. And this movie is starring Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Jeff Bridges, Evan Peters, and maybe some other names I forgot. But this movie genuinely was not the worst thing ever, like people are saying. It wasn't amazing or anything. It was okay, but I just kind of left the film really disappointed because I loved Tron Legacy as a kid, and I still do. I think that movie is just has so much, I don't know how to describe it. I just loved it so much, and I still do, and I just feel empty. Like, I feel disappointed because this is not the continuation that I'd wanted for such a long time. I know maybe I sound like an old head or something, like, oh, it was better back in my day or whatever, but either way, I just was sorely disappointed. But before I go on a whole tangent, why I was a bit disappointed by this film, I'll tell you why and more back at the house.
Ready? Because there's no going back.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ronan Time HD, and this week we watched Tron Ares, the third installment in the Tron franchise. This film comes 15 or 14 years after Tron Legacy. It is starring Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Evan Peters, Jeff Bridges, Jodie Turner-Smith. I believe those are all the names I need to mention. And it is an action sci-fi film. I will say, this is just a little comment here. Even though this movie is called Tron Ares, Tron is not in this movie. just for the record. This Tron movie does not have Tron in it. Come on. Tron's awesome, man. You don't have Tron in the Tron movie. Either way, Tron is awesome. We need Tron in the Tron movie. I mean, he kicked ass in Tron Legacy. Granted, he was Rinsler the whole movie, but he was still Tron. He was still there, right? And he fought for the user. You know what I mean? He was awesome. I love Tron. Wasn't in this movie. Not even a mention, mind you. At least, I'll get into it. First off, I'm going to mention the things I liked about this movie before I go on a tangent. I think this film, a lot of people are painting this to be like the worst movie. They're like, really hating it. It's terrible. It's awful. I think the only reason they're saying that is because Jared Leto is in it. I don't like Jared Leto, right? I'm not going to say that I like him, but I feel like it's clouding their judgment a little bit. I don't like him as much as the next guy, but I think this film is just fine, right? It's not awful, but it's not amazing, but I don't think it's as bad as people are saying it is. I think genuinely it's just kind of an okay experience, but it is incredibly disappointing for a fan of Tron as I am, right? I'm a huge Tron fan, and it let me down massively, even though I didn't have that many expectations to believe. I didn't have that many expectations to begin with, and somehow I was still disappointed. Either way, what I did like about the film, I did like, I guess, the visuals. I thought the film was very pretty. I did like it, although the costumes weren't Tron Legacy level. They still looked good, right? Not gonna say they looked bad. I think the fights when they were there were good and were enjoyable. I did like, I thought Jared Leto didn't ruin the movie. His performance was okay. Granted, he wasn't given an opportunity to have a weird performance or just be weird on set because his character wasn't like that. So I guess that's okay. I suppose that's a plus. I think the story wasn't terrible. I think the story was all right. It could have been better, but it was all right. What else did I like about it? I liked the banter between the characters sometimes. Sometimes it was mildly entertaining. Well, maybe not mildly entertaining. It was a little entertaining. I think mildly is a little bit of a backhanded compliment right there. I'm not trying to insult this movie, okay? I'm just trying to look for things that I enjoyed about it. I guess I liked an expansion on the universe of Tron, although Tron Legacy did it better. Tron Legacy did like everything better than this movie. Maybe aside from the weird, uncanny Jeff Bridges face with Clue and everything. Even though it's just weird. It's not like it looked bad. It just looks weird. Either way, okay. So a thing that I think was decent about this movie was I liked the themes. I liked the ideas around it. I liked the idea of, the progression from the last movie where Clue and his army was trying to take over the world, basically, to go into the real world and kill all the humans, and like, oh, we're in control. We're gonna make a better world, right? We're not gonna be imprisoned in the grid anymore, right? And they expanded on that by, well, what if we try to turn programs into, like, super soldiers? And the whole idea is if you have the, like a code that makes so there's like a thing where they can only be in the real world for an allotted amount of time, but there's a piece of code that can make them be here permanently. And if they can do that, you could just have, like, unlimited amounts of soldiers that you don't need to feed, you don't need to have them rest. You could just have an unlimited amount of soldiers and you could just keep respawning them, right? Like, just infinite soldier glitch, I guess is a way to put it. I like that idea, and I like the expansion upon the idea that was suggested in Tron Legacy. However, maybe to get into the negatives here, although while that is an interesting idea, I just think this film did not execute it as well as it could have been, right? I just don't think this film was written that well. I don't think... I mean, it wasn't, as I said, the writing wasn't terrible. It just wasn't that special. You know what I mean? It didn't have... The stakes weren't high enough, I mean, when they get that code, that, like, the MacGuffin code that makes them permanent, it doesn't make them... It doesn't give them, like, an unlimited amount of time to be on here. It just turns them human, right? Which kind of takes away the stakes of, oh, we can't let them get this. Because they had the idea that you could just keep respawning them, but they wouldn't die, technically. They would just come back when you scan them back in. But that's not true. You would just be killing them. And yeah, you could bring them back, but you wouldn't. It would just be kind of the same program, but a different program, if that makes sense. It wouldn't be the same. I don't know if that's too confusing. But essentially it wouldn't work the way they thought it would. So when you imagine that, I think this is the lowest the stakes have ever been for the series. I mean, in Tron Legacy, it's literally the fucking worst, because Clue wants to escape the grid and take over the world and kill all the humans, right? That's pretty fucking high stakes. And this one, they're like, oh, we can't let them become humans and let them die like people. I'm shaking in my boots, right? But again, I just think it's interesting, but I think it could have been done better with better writing. And I just think in general, a lot of the things this film does, I think the previous Tron movies do better. I think the soundtrack, while I will admit, I love Nine Inch Nails, I love Trent Reznor, it's no Tron Legacy, I'll tell you that much. It is no Daft Punk, because they were on something else when they were making the Tron Legacy soundtrack. That soundtrack is legendary. It's one of my favorite film soundtracks ever made, because you could just casually listen to that, and it doesn't even sound like it was made for a movie. It's just so good, and it just fits Tron. And I just think this, while it's not awful, like everything else in this movie, it's not awful, it's just like a movie soundtrack. It doesn't sound like anything special. The Tron Legacy soundtrack was special. But aside from that, I also think that in general, while if you couldn't tell already, I am a huge fan of Tron Legacy. It was one of my favorite movies as a kid. It is still one of my favorite movies ever made. Love Tron Legacy. I love basically everything about that movie. And I loved the characters. I got really invested in the story of Tron Legacy. I've been invested for like a decade, right? At least over a decade. I've been invested in the story of these characters. And this movie starts, and I was like, oh, they just left. The leads from the last movie, they're not here anymore. They're somewhere else. They're just off doing something else. And we never see them again. Like, in an offhand comment at the beginning of the movie, they're just like, Sam Flynn steps down as the CEO for personal reasons. And that's all we get. There's not a single other verbal mention of Sam, aside from the end of the movie, where Jared Leto's like looking at a picture of him and, I forgot the program's name from Tron Legacy. I always forget her name. But it's them and a picture, and he's like, he's gonna look for them. If there's a fucking sequel, which there might not be, because Jared Leto's like it's Jared Leto. People might just not watch this movie because he's in it. So, thanks, movie. You could have actually made a continuation of Tron Legacy with the characters that I care about, but you're like, nah, we'll just do it another time. He left. He just left. They just left. They just left. That's the explanation. They just left. There's no explanation. You want an explanation? Watch the next movie, pal. You're not gonna get any explanation in this movie about the main characters from the last fucking movie. This random girl is the CEO now, and you're gonna deal with it. Either way, I don't know. I just think that the whole movie I was bitter because they just brushed the main characters from the last movie aside. They're like, but look at these main characters. You care about these characters, right? And I was just bitter the whole time about it. I'm like, I don't fucking care about Jared Leto. I want fucking Jeff Bridges' son. That's what I want. Anyway, it's not his real son. It's his movie son. Either way, I just think that I was just bitter about that the whole movie, and it kind of soured my taste on it because I had been waiting over a decade for this movie, and it wasn't even an actual continuation of Tron Legacy. They're like, I will continue it in the next one. Give us money. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just mad about that, and I also just think in general, the film, I think the problem with it is everything about it was just okay. And while you might say, well, that's fine, at least it's not bad, I object to the fact that, well, I might disagree because if everything's just okay about a movie, then why should you talk about it, right? If you just watch a movie and you're like, yeah, it's fine, then why watch it? I feel like if you're watching a movie, there has to be some kind of special element about it. Now, not every movie needs to be like fucking Pulp Fiction or something. Not every movie needs to be a cinematic masterpiece to be enjoyable, but I feel like every movie that you enjoy should have something special that you like about it. And it doesn't even need to be unanimously special, just something special to you, right? And personally, I don't think there's anything that special about it, you know? And I think that's the problem is if I'm just saying it's okay, that's not good enough from my standards, at least. I want a movie that makes me feel something other than my, like, I guess, like, mild indifference, right? I want, I mean, that's the best I can describe. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I just think it's okay. I kind of like it, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it for Tron fans, really. I mean, if you really want a new Tron experience, knock yourself out. I just think, as a huge Tron Legacy simp, as a huge fan of Tron Legacy, and the original Tron, if we're being honest, I just don't think it lives up to the standards of a Tron movie. You know, Tron movies, like the last two are like all the way up fucking here, man. They rock like fucking Van Halen. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. They just rock, you know what I mean? This movie's like down here, so it's okay. You know, it's alright. It's like, I don't know, I was gonna make like a rock band joke for like a decent band, but I don't know any decent rock bands. Either way, you get what I mean. The analogy doesn't matter. I'm just saying it's whatever. And I don't recommend it. And with that being said, I think I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. And yeah, I think I said to say. I think it's my piece. So guys, I hope you like this video. Share it with friends. Subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Comment down below if you liked it. But you guys know how it goes. I didn't mean to say that. What I really meant to say was, if you guys hated this video, subscribe, discontinue, hate me in the comments. And I'm Time HD off to enter the grid. Well, actually, I'm exiting the grid if I do that. Because, you know, they offer the identification disc, but that's when they're exiting the grid. It doesn't matter, it's just cool. It just looks cool. Doesn't look as cool when Jared Leto does it, though.
Just because he's Jared Leto?
Just because he's Jared Leto, it's just in general.
So I was watching this movie, and I think one thing I realized, like at the end, Evan Peters, you know, looks like Sark from the first one because he's a descendant of Dillinger, and Dillinger was the creator of the program Sark, so it makes sense. But I think it also makes sense because Evan Peters' character was an incompetent dumbass, and so was Sark, so it makes sense. He looked cool, but he was a completely incompetent moron, so it fits. Even though Evan Peters did not look cool in this movie, he looked like a goober, which I guess is just him most of the time. No offense, Evan Peters.